This is the solutions for the mock exam for conversions. The speed of sound in air is given as 300 meters per second. Now when you look at this, you might think, well, this doesn't say meters per second, it says meters per second to the negative first power. Remember that if you have something to the negative first power, it's the same thing as 1 over s. So the idea is if you have meters and second to the negative first power, that is equal to meters divided by second. Okay. How many meters does sound travel in air in 1 hour? Okay. This formula is not given to you, but I think it's worth remembering that velocity equals distance divided by time. And if you're a little shaky on algebra, one cool thing you could do is you could draw this as a pyramid. And if you put the V here on the left like it is here, you put the D on the top like it is there, and you put T here on the bottom right like it is here, then you have basically a little trick to figure out different versions of V equals D over T. For example, let's pretend that I am going to cover up the V. If I cover up the V, do you see what's left over? It's D over T. So basically, if V is on the left side, I cover the V, and then D over T is remaining, just like here on the right side. What if I want to find out what D is equal to? The way I do that is I cover up the D, and what is remaining is V and T right next to each other. So D is equal to V times T. What if I want to find out what T is equal to? T, I cover it up, and I'm left with D divided by V. So T is equal to D divided by V. So, if I want to know how many meters does sound travel, how many meters does it travel, that is equal to the distance, right? In 1 hour. So, what I want to know is distance equals V times T, like this equation says, right? And what is my V? My V is 300 meters per second. And what's my T? My T is 1 hour. So I multiply 300 meters per second times 1 hour. Now if I do that, do you see how I can't cancel out the seconds with an hour? I need to convert my hours to seconds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a unit conversion, and I'm going to use the domino. 1 hour equals 60 minutes. Okay? And then after that, I'm going to use another domino that says 60 seconds equals 1 minute. Okay? Okay, so if I have hours on top, I need to put hours on the bottom. So I'm going to put 1 hour on the bottom, and I'm going to put 60 minutes on top. Now I still want to change minutes to seconds, so I'm going to put minutes on the bottom and seconds on top. It'll be 60 seconds per 1 minute, like I put there. Now I can see that if I cancel, I'll cancel out that meters with that meters, that hour with that hour, and that seconds with that seconds, and I'm left with distance. So I'm going to have 300 times 60 times 60. I'll show you how to do that with the calculator. I think the easiest way to do it is to go to the math screen, number, and then press up, and then you're on n/d, and then you can make a vertical fraction here. You don't need to put as many parentheses on things. So you do 300 times 1 times 60 times 60. And at the bottom, you're going to put 1 times 1, which is actually just 1. Then you hit enter. So my answer is 1,080,000. So I'm going to write that just for a second. 1,080,000. Okay. Meters. And then it says express your answer in A to two significant figures. So we're going to round it so that only these two significant figures are remaining. So 1, and then does 0 stay 0, or does it get rounded up to 1 because of the 8? It gets rounded up to 1. And then of course 8 goes to 0 because it's not one of the significant figures. and then the 0 after the 8 stays 0, and then there's 3 zeros after that. So I have two significant figures, 1, 1, and basically I have 1,100,000 meters. And that's two significant figures because these two are significant. Next thing, we're going to change it to scientific notation. We'll end up with 1.1 times 10 to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to move the decimal point 6 places, so it's 1.1 times 10 to the 6. If I wanted to, I could change okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 5 zeros. And I could change this number to scientific notation by changing mode to scientific. Get out, then go there and hit enter, and it will change to 1.1 times 10 to the 6, which means 1.1 times 10 to the 6. E6 means 10 to the 6. So that is our answer using scientific notation. That's B2. Let's go down to number 2. Sven is traveling to Europe. He withdraws $800 from his savings and converts it to euros. The local bank is buying euros at a certain price and selling euros at another price. Use the appropriate rate to calculate the amount of euros Sven will receive. Okay, so Sven is going to Europe, so he's going to want dollars, and he starts with he wants euros, sorry, and he starts with dollars. So let's say I'm going to have Sven and I'm going to have the bank, and he is giving the bank money and the bank is giving him money. What money is Sven giving the bank? He's giving dollars, right? US dollars. What is the bank giving Sven? He is converting to euros, so the bank is giving him euros. So in this case, is the bank selling euros or buying euros? Well, look how the euros are going away from the bank. So the bank must be selling the euros, okay? Not buying. So what we're going to do is, in A, we are going to use the rate $1 equals 0.766 euros, and we are going to find out how many euros Sven gets. So he starts with $800, and then we're going to multiply times the domino made from the rate above, which has 0.766 on top and $1 on the bottom. So let's multiply that out here. Let's make sure our mode is back to normal. And then we're going to multiply 800 times 0.766. And we're going to get 612.8. So our new amount is 612.80. Okay. Letter B. Suppose the trip is canceled. How much will he receive if the euros in part A are changed back to dollars? Okay, so let's start out with 612.80 euros, and we're going to multiply it times a domino. The domino is going to have euros on the bottom to cancel out with the euros on top, and on the top we're going to have dollars. What value are we going to use for the exchange rate? Well, in this particular case, Sven is giving euros to the bank, and the bank is giving dollars back. So in this case, what is the bank doing? Is it buying euros or selling euros? So in this case, they're actually buying euros. So we're going to use this rate here. This rate here. So the rate is 0.785 euros. So we're going to put 0.785 in the bottom here. And we'll put $1 on top. And let's see what we get. We're going to do the math number ND function. And then we're going to put 612.80 times 1. In the bottom, we're going to put 0.785. get 780.64. I'm going to put $780.64. So that is how much he gets back. Do you see how he doesn't end up with $800 back? It's like about $20 less. And that's exactly what they're going to ask in Part C. In Part C, they're going to say, how much has Sven lost after the two transactions? Express your answer as a percentage of the original $800. So how much have they lost? We're going to take $800 and we're going to subtract 780.64 to see how much they lost. So we do 800 minus that amount, which is $19.36. Okay, and then it says what's the percentage of that amount from the original 800? So we do 19.36 divided by 800. That'll give me a decimal. 800, and we're going to get 0.0242, and that in percentage would be equal to, and we're going to change it to percentage, what we do is we multiply it times 100, because this decimal, if we want to change it to percent, or same, is per 100, so we multiply by 100, and that's equal to 2.42% is the amount of that's lost. Okay? Moving on to the last problem. Give the answers in this question correct to 2 decimal places. Now that's what you should always do with finance problems unless otherwise asked. Stella lives in Brazil and wishes to change 4,000 Brazilian reais for Great Britain pounds. The exchange rate is 1 Brazilian real is equal to 0.3071 GBP. So we're going to use this currency exchange rate. The bank charges 3% commission on the amount in Brazilian reais. Find in Brazilian reais the amount of Estella has after the commission. Okay, so she's going to change 4,000 Brazilian reais, and she's going to lose 3% in commission. 3%, remember, is 0.03 because I multiply 3 times 0.01. And let's see how much the commission is. The commission is 120 Brazilian reais. Okay, so after I pay 120 from my original 4,000, what do I have left? I have 4,000 minus 120, which is 3,880 Brazilian reais. Find in GBP the amount of money Estella receives. So now I'm going to take my 3,880 Brazilian reais, and then multiply it times the domino here. And on the bottom, of course, I'm going to put Brazilian reais because so they'll cancel. And then on the top, I'm going to put 0.3071 GBP. And then my answer will be 3,880 times 0.3071. And I get GBP's 1191.55 GBP. 1191.55 GBP. Okay, after her trip to UK, Estella has 400 GBP left. At the airport, she changes this money back into Brazilian reais. The exchange rate is now 1 Brazilian real equals 0.3125 GBP. Find in Brazilian reais the amount of money that Estella should receive. Okay, so she has only 400 GBP left after her trip, and she's going to change it using this exchange rate. Okay, so let's see what that's going to be. So we start with 400 GBP, and then we multiply that times the domino, 1 Brazilian real on top, and then on the bottom we'll have 0.3125 GBP. and then the GBPs cancel out, and I'll have 400, and let's do this with the math function. Math number ND, and we'll have 400 times 1 on top, and we'll have 0.3125 on the bottom, and the answer is 1280, and that is Brazilian real. Okay, so at the beginning she had 4,000 Brazilian real, and at the end she has 1280. Estela actually receives 1216.80 after the commission. Find in Brazil real the commission charged to Estela. Okay, so instead of 1280, she received 1216.80. So how much was charged in commission? 1280 minus 1216.80. So what's charged is 63.20 in Brazilian real. The commission rate is T%. Find the value of T. So 63.20 commission rate divided by the total amount, 1280 Brazilian real, will be what proportion? 63.2 divided by 1280. That gives me 0.049375. Now, that in a percentage, I would multiply times 100. It's equal to 4.9375%. Or if you want to do 3 significant figures, 4.94% is what T equals. And that's it.